Hey, I'm Allison, and this is Realistically Consistent, where we talk about how to build sustainable fitness, nutrition, and mindset habits that actually last even as a busy mom. I'm here to help get you consistent, not perfect, and on your way to feeling like your best self. I'm so excited to start today's episode with you. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Realistically Consistent. Thank you so much for being here with me today. One quick ask before we get started is if you have been following for a while and you haven't hit the follow, like, subscribe button yet, please do so. It helps the show grow more than you know. All right, with that, we are going to dive in. I am so fired up for today's episode. I'm just so stoked. Coming from a former math teacher, we are going to make things make sense today with numbers. And if you are a hater of math, please stay with me because I promise you, we are going to make it make sense. We are going to make consistency make sense, make the 80-20 lifestyle that everybody talks about make sense and really break it down. And you can actually see, is this what I'm doing? Am I living in an 80-20 balance? Or am I thinking that the balance that I've created was 80-20 when realistically it's not? And that's what we're going to break down today. And I'm so excited. But I am also fired up for another reason. And if you caught last week's episode, you heard my soft launch of my new membership. And I am just still riding high from this launch because this membership is everything. It is for the mom who maybe knows that she's stuck in survival mode and has been trying to get out, or feels like she doesn't have time or the motivation, or, has this fear because she's tried other things before and nothing else has really worked. This membership was built around that, because no matter what stage of motherhood you're in, whether you have a brand new newborn baby or you have toddlers or you have teenagers, you deserve to prioritize yourself in a way that gives you your energy back full time, that gives you your confidence back. So yes, while we have weight loss goals in this membership, more than that, we are building a lifestyle that allows you to feel good and move with confidence and make the decisions in your life that are going to let you lead with confidence and know that you are setting the best example for those babies as they grow and they age, so that they don't find themselves searching for things like this because they got to witness a healthy lifestyle and live it through you as they grew up. That is what this membership is all about. And if you want in, you can even pause this episode and grab your spot right now. You can try it for free because, again, I genuinely want other moms in this membership who are going to be there, be a part of the community, lift each other up, lend a helping hand by just throwing out suggestions. Hey, this is what I do that works for me. Hey, here's a brand of protein bar that I just discovered that I really love. Throw those things out there. I am constantly learning from my clients as well. And I am so grateful for this community as I've been in my own postpartum journey. So if, again, you want to join in there, you can try it for 1 week for free. I even let you know when your free trial is ending. And if you get in by Mother's Day, you will lock in the founding member rate for life. Okay, so I highly encourage you to get in before Mother's Day so that you can snag that price as well. You can snag that link over in the show notes. It's also at AllisonHaleyFitness.com. You can find the link over to the membership from there. You can also use the /RCM membership as well. Okay, and like I said, that founding member price, you're saving $10 a month for life. So that is huge. That makes a big difference. So like I said, get into that free trial before Mother's Day or by Mother's Day, and you can lock that in for life. So with today's topic, I want to talk about balance and what having an actual healthy, balanced lifestyle looks like. I've been hearing this kind of thrown around a lot lately, and sometimes when somebody explains a situation or something that they've done for the week and they say, yeah, but it's balance, right? And sometimes I'll be like, don't think that that's really truly balanced, because a lot of what I'm hearing is like extremes and then nothing. So even if you might have like a couple extremes in a week and then maybe nothing for a couple other days of your week, rather than the typical thought of like going really, really hard for one whole week and then falling off for a few months, that's another version of extreme. Sometimes even just in a single week, there are certain extremes, right? Or even having a few days of like perfection, but then falling off for the next few days. So again, I really want to break this down, what it looks like to live an 80/20 balanced lifestyle. And if you haven't heard that before, it means making the healthier choices 80% of the time, and then maybe indulging a little bit or relaxing more or not moving as much or whatever it might mean in that 20%. Again, not necessarily doing the bad things, but making the choices that you know don't necessarily fall into that 80% of healthy, right? When I say 80% of the healthier choices, we're talking moving your body in any way that makes sense for you, that isn't causing you harm. We're talking eating whole foods, right? When you're shopping at the grocery store, are you sticking mostly to the outskirts of the store and getting your fruits and your veggies and your proteins, whether that be through meat or plant-based proteins? Are you getting whole grains and legumes, or are you leaning more towards the more processed things, right? The processed things are really what falls into that 20%. Okay, so when we're saying 80/20 balance, it means that a good 20% of your lifestyle can fit into that 20. So that means like the processed things, going out to ice cream, having the pizza, having a Netflix night where you're just vegging out and having popcorn and watching Netflix, right? So where does your lifestyle really fall? How much of the time are you spending in that kind of 20? How much are you spending in that 80? Is it actually an 80/20 balance, or where would you put yourself? Part of this process and part of listening to episodes like this, or working with a coach, or joining the membership, if that's something that you choose to do, it's getting really honest with yourself. Because if you don't truly understand what you're already doing, how can we make the choices moving forward that are going to help to elevate you into that next level, right? So we want to be really, 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 truly honest with ourselves, okay? Now, the other thing about an 80/20 balance is that I do want you to understand that balance is really like a maintenance balance, okay? The line between maintenance and weight loss, or even maintenance and putting weight back on, those two lines are very small, okay? And I think sometimes we don't even recognize how quickly it starts to accumulate when you're not in that 80/20 balance. Because if you're not in that 80/20 balance, that means you're either losing weight or you're gaining. Because if you're not maintaining, obviously one of those two things is happening, but all it takes for you to gain weight is an extra 200 calories a day above your maintenance. Do you know how fast 200 calories can get added on a day? I dare you to track your food for 1 week straight. And I mean, like, really track it. And this isn't an ad. I very recently found an app that I have been loving. It makes it so easy for me to track my food because, again, I still do this as a coach, as a nutrition coach. I am not somebody that is a huge macro pusher, food tracker, but I do find an incredible amount of value in tracking your food a couple of times a year to really see where you're at. How much protein are you genuinely getting? How many calories are you genuinely eating? If something feels off with your body, and this is what really caused me to start tracking, something's been going on with my hormones. I am almost 11 months postpartum, and just things were feeling out of whack. And so the first place that I look is, what am I putting in my body that could be not supporting my hormones at this moment, right? First place I always suggest you look. If you are feeling off, what are you putting in your body? Track every single bite, okay? I mean, seriously, it's not even worth tracking if you're not going to record every single thing that you're putting into your mouth, okay? But this app that I have found recently is called Cal AI, CALAI. And all you have to do, you can do it several different ways, but what's been helping me is all I have to do is take a picture of my food and it will break it down. It'll tell me how many calories, how much protein, how much carbs. And again, it is still just AI. It is 100% accurate. So still taking this with a grain of salt and understanding there is a margin of error in here. But for the most part, when I take a look at the portion sizes that it's estimated, it's pretty accurate, okay? And again, I do just want to say, I am not going so far as to weigh my food, measure my food, do all these things. I am estimating. However, I cook a lot, I bake a lot, I do a lot of things with measurements. And so I do feel that I have a pretty good understanding of how much everything is, right? So again, taking things with a grain of salt, trying to be as accurate as possible. If you feel like you don't have a great handle on estimation, I would say to go as far 1 or 2 days. That's all it really takes. 1 or 2 days to weigh or measure your food and get a really good idea for, my gosh, this is a half a cup. Wow, I was way overestimating myself or underestimating myself, right? However, like I said, this Cali AI app does do a pretty good job estimating the portion sizes, and it will break down your grams of protein, your carbs, your fats, your fiber, your calories, all of those things, and really give you a good picture of what you're doing. And so that all cycles back to, wow, 200 extra calories a day can happen so quick. Okay. So if you are not sure where you fall, how many calories a day you're eating, highly, highly, highly recommend you just track for a week. Okay. Even a few days is better than nothing, right? Something's always better than nothing, and get a picture for what you're doing. Because the thing is, too, the reason I say a week is for a lot of us, what we're doing during the week and what we're doing during the weekends are two very different things. So tracking during both is something really important to understand. And we're going to get into that and how that all shakes out mathematically here in a little bit. But again, the whole point of that was to just help you understand 80/20. That balance is really meant, for the most part, for a maintenance level lifestyle way of living. Okay. Which is great, right? But if you do have weight loss goals, fat loss goals, we probably want to veer more towards a 90/10 style of living. Okay. And anything that is outside of that, probably you're going to struggle to maintain and definitely struggle to lose. Okay. So when we break these things down, I'm hoping that it will, give you a bigger picture for what you're doing. Because something else, if we are just talking about nutrition, okay, give you a bigger picture for how you're eating, how you're drinking water, how you're moving your body, things like that. And I want to break it down in a way that hopefully helps you make sense of it all. So I want to start with nutrition, okay, because this is so common where we know what we should be doing to eat healthy for the most part, right? And so maybe we even take it so far as to understand what you take it so far as to even understand what your deficit number of calories is, okay? So let's say, okay, we're getting into the math here. Let's say your caloric deficit is around 1,700 calories, because again, I want to stress this. Having an extreme deficit is only going to hurt your metabolism long term. If you can even sustain a deficit like 1,200 calories, 1,300 calories a day for several days, which I struggle to do myself. I haven't done that in I don't know how many years. But even if you can do that, your body is going to go into a shutdown mode. You're hurting your metabolism more than you're helping it, especially if you are able to even stick to that for a few days. And then your body's going to rebound and be so hungry for the next few days that now you're going to skyrocket. So again, when I'm saying deficit, we want to be in a reasonable deficit that is not having you drop extreme amounts of weight and then just has your body on a roller coaster ride. Okay. If we are in a reasonable deficit that doesn't leave you feeling hungry, but it is still a deficit, you are going to lose weight. It might not be as quickly as it would have been with a lower deficit, but it's going to be more sustainable. It's going to feel more natural. You're not going to be fighting cravings. You're not going to be fighting food noise nearly as much. Okay. So we want to do this in a sustainable way. So now let's say, again, a pretty average calorie deficit for a woman in her 30s, 40s, who is anywhere from 150 to even say 200 pounds. Your deficit is going to be anywhere from about 1,700 calories to around 2,000 calories. Okay. So keep that number in mind. And again, there are calorie calculators everywhere. But again, even with these, you do have to be careful. I went through 3 different apps the other day calculating my calorie deficit and got wildly different numbers. One app told me that I should be in a deficit of 830 calories a day. Absolutely not. Another counter told me that I should be in a deficit of 3,000 calories a day. Okay. Wildly different. So that is why I still always recommend consulting with a coach or a dietitian or a nutritionist or somebody about what a calorie deficit that makes sense for you really truly is. Okay. Keep that in the back of your mind. So let's just use the number 1700 calorie deficit for this example. Okay. So let's say, and we're talking about an 80-20 balance here. Let's say you're living in a balance and you white knuckle your way through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you are like, okay, I'm so good. I resisted every single craving, every single temptation. I stuck to my deficit. I ate 1700 calories every single one of these days. Okay. Let's say Monday through Thursday, you did perfectly, but it was a little bit of a struggle to get there. You had to pass up on the cake at a birthday celebration at lunch one day. You had to pass up on the extra coffee creamer that you put in your coffee, whatever it might be, right? It wasn't necessarily super easy getting there, but you did it. Okay. That is total for those 4 days. If you ate all those calories, you are at 6,800 calories for those 4 days. Okay. But now Friday hit. Okay. And you're like, oh, thank God it's Friday. I'm getting myself my coffee and it's pizza night. And you know what? I earned this. I worked so freaking hard Monday through Thursday. I deserve this. I'm going to have this. And then your weekend spirals out of control because most of us struggle to plan for the weekend as well. And then the weekend hits and we've got kid events and we're driving through fast food drive-throughs because we ran out of time. And oh my gosh, I forgot to bring snacks. I'm just going to grab this bag of chips. And oh my gosh, I forgot, da 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 da, on and on it goes. And the weekend spirals. But every time you're thinking, but I did so good Monday through Thursday, it's fine. Or the guilt hits when you have the pizza on Friday night and you're thinking, okay, I deserve this pizza, but you eat it and then you feel guilty because you did so good. You don't want to mess up your progress. So when Saturday night rolls around, you're like, you know what? I deserve to have something guilt-free. I'm going to try again. And I'm going to have this bowl of pasta, okay? Or whatever it might be. Basically, long story short, you're thinking you deserve this weekend and it's fine because Monday through Thursday were so good. We already talked about how quickly calories can add up. If you really do all of those actions and all of those things add up, there's a solid chance that you're eating at least 3,000 calories a day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay? That is 9,000 calories total for 3 days. That's 2,000 extra calories in a weekend with one less day. Okay? So again, you just ate 2,000 extra calories in one less day than you did in those 4 days of being really good. So that might feel like a balance in your mind, but let's go back and do some math. Okay. All of those calories, the 1,700 Monday through Friday, the 3,000 Friday through Sunday, that's 15,800 calories for your entire week. Okay. Those 9,000 calories that weekend was 58% of your total caloric intake. Okay. That's over half. That means that you being so good throughout the rest of the week was less than half of your entire week. Less than half. So it's no wonder we spiral out of control and think to ourselves, oh my gosh, this isn't working. It's not even worth me eating so well during the week when it's not, I have nothing to show for it. That's because the calories and what you're doing over the weekend genuinely did just derail all of the progress because it was over half of the choices that you made for the entire week. Okay? And that is just mathematical. So let's talk through another extreme that I've heard recently. Okay? And that's water, drinking water. So let's say you're trying to be better about drinking water and you're thinking, okay, I know I need probably a gallon a day, right? This is something else that I hear pretty frequently. So you get one of those ginormous gallon jugs and you fill it up one day, Monday, and you say, okay, we're going to drink a gallon every single day. We're going to be so good. But let's be honest here. That's a lot of water. That's 128 ounces in a day. Okay. That's a lot. So for somebody that maybe isn't already great about drinking water, you're going to go from nothing to 128 ounces of water. That sounds really challenging. So what ends up happening is maybe you do take the time to fill up that entire gallon jug, which takes a very long time, number one. Number two, that thing is a pain in the butt to lug everywhere. It doesn't fit in any cup holder that I know. Your body's not used to drinking that much water. So now you find that if you're actually doing it and keeping up with it, now you have to pee all the time. Another massive inconvenience. But you finish out Monday and you're like, I did it. I finished my whole gallon of water. And doing it again sounds like a pain in the ass. So you don't do it again for the next few days, which means you resort back to maybe drinking 16 ounces a day, which is about a glass a day. And then you're like, okay, you know what? It's the weekend. I'll go back to my gallon. You refill your gallon again 5 days later on a Saturday, and you get through most of it. Okay. You get through like 100 ounces, but you don't finish it yet, which means you still feel guilty for that. You feel like you failed because you didn't finish it, but you're still a little proud of yourself because you did get to 100 ounces. Okay. And then again, you had to pee all day. It was a pain in the butt. Sunday, you're like, all right, I deserve to just take a day off. So once again, we're lucky if you get your 16 ounces. Okay. Let's total that all up. If you drink your 128 ounces one day, 16 ounces the next 5 days, 100 Saturday, and 16 ounces the next day, that total is 308 ounces. Okay. So let's keep that number in the back of our minds versus the person that says, I'm just going to try and drink a little bit more every day. I'm going to try and drink, 80 is a really solid number. We're going to try and get to 80 ounces a day. So you create a system. How can I get to 80 ounces a day? Well, I've got this 30-ounce tumbler. That means I only have to fill it 3 times. Or I've got my 40-ounce tumbler. That means I only have to drink 2 of them. You have a system, okay? You decide to start your day with water every single day because, one, that's going to help hydrate your body immediately first thing in the morning, help with your energy. Delaying caffeine will also help with the energy crash that you probably experience around 3 to 4 p.m. every day, okay? So you start with water in the morning, you have a system. So let's say Monday goes great. You hit all 80 ounces. Awesome. The next day, not as great. You only got to about 60 or 50, but you're still doing okay. The next day, not great at all. You were lucky to get to 20 or 30 ounces in that day, okay? But the next day, you're thinking, all right, I'm going to do better. Even that day, it was better, but was still only 40 ounces. The next day, you get up to 60. And then the weekend hits. And you have more time, you have more access to a bathroom, you get back up to 80. And then Sunday, you're way busier and you totally forget and you're back down to 20 or 30. So again, we are all over the place, but you're still drinking more than a glass of water every day because you have a system. You're being intentional. It sounds like way less because you didn't even get close to a gallon any of those days. You didn't even get close to your initial goal of a gallon. But when you total up that entire week, that's 400 ounces of water, right? Versus the 308 you did when you were trying to do extremes. That's 100 extra ounces of water in your entire week, and you weren't struggling your way through it. You only hit your goal 2 days of that week, okay? But you were still being intentional. You were still putting in effort. And water is one of the most important things that our bodies need to function. It doesn't want a gallon one day and then next to nothing for the next 3. It wants consistency. It wants fluid every single day. Your skin will thank you. Your digestive system will thank you. Your nervous system will thank you. Everything will thank you when you can be consistent with that water. That is having balance. So let's jump back into the nutrition and talk about what having that 80-20 balance in your week actually looks like and feels like, so you're not white knuckling your way through the weekdays, Monday through Thursday, and thinking you have to sacrifice every single thing and then feeling like, oh, I earned this on the weekends and then going overboard, okay? What does an actual balance look like in your week? So again, let's assume you're trying to hit like maintenance calories or just a very slight deficit, right? That would put your calorie total between 17 and like 1900 calories, okay? 80% of those calories is going to be around 14 to 1500 calories, okay, in your day. That's 80%, okay, of those total calories, right? So that means 1,500 calories of your day is good, healthy, whole foods, right? As minimally processed foods as you can find, okay? That means that 20%, the other 300 or so calories, can be a little bit more indulgent, can be a little bit more processed, okay? But again, when you start tracking and you start understanding how quickly some of those things add up, especially the things that are higher in fat, things like that have peanut butter in them or oils or butters or things like that, those calories do add up really quick. Okay. So keeping some of those things in the back of your mind, just know that you do have those calories where there are some people I know, myself included, that have sweets just about every day. We just don't go crazy with them. So if we're looking at this from a week's perspective, that means that we are actually hitting the calories that we need and not saying, oh, I know that I'm going to this party later. I'm going to have a slice of pizza and a slice of cake. So I'm going to starve myself all day long and save all of my calories for that. That's not what we want. That means all of your calories for the day were processed or heavy or high in sugars and fats and all of the things that we don't want, versus saying, you know what, I'm going to eat like normal. I'm going to eat 1,500 of my calories are going to be from good, healthy foods that support my metabolism, that support my muscle growth, that support all of those things. So then when I get to that meal where I am offered the pizza and the cake and the things, I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm not going to feel like I need 4 slices of pizza because I'm starving, because I skipped everything else. I'm going to have a singular slice of pizza and a little bit of salad because that means I get to enjoy the best of both worlds. I'm going to enjoy the slice of cake because I know my metabolism can support it. But again, I'm not going to overindulge because the food noise is so loud because I lashed all of my calories the remainder of the day. See how that balance works? But let's talk about planning these things out. It means understanding how different foods and the calories of them work because you've tracked for a period of time and you understand that certain lunches feel really filling and are less calories. Certain lunches feel really filling, but are maybe a little bit more in calorie or higher in fat or lower in fat. And you understand that because you've tracked what you already do for a period of time. And so you make choices that are going to support the things and events and meals and, outings and opportunities to drink and things like that. You make specific choices that are going to support the choices that you want to make later. So you can build in the wine night, girls' night, and have some wine on a Friday, actually guilt-free because you planned for it. And planning didn't mean sacrificing, starving yourself, or any of those extremes, right? It means planning for it and understanding that your metabolism can support it. That is having balance. And when you have that balance, you're going to find that you don't have insane cravings. So that when your family says, let's go out for ice cream tonight, you're not panicking because you have trouble saying no to ice cream. You can confidently say, yeah, you know what? Let's go. That sounds like fun. Because you have fueled your body so well today that you want the ice cream. You're not necessarily going to pass on it, but you're not worried about eating too much because you feel so full and so satiated that the food noise is so quiet that you can go and just have a few bites of your kids or order yourself a really small bowl and get halfway through and realize, you know what? I don't really even want to finish this. I don't need it. I'll save it for later. I'm good. Because genuinely, that is what happens. I cannot tell you how many clients have come back to me and said, I was floored when my family went out to ice cream and all I needed was a few bites of my daughter's. I got my own cup and I didn't even want to finish it. Floored because you're supporting your body. You're fueling your body. And so it reacts accordingly. And when you have this actual kind of balance, that means that every day starts to feel good. So when I talk about building a lifestyle that you can look forward to, that doesn't mean dreading a Monday because we got to start the diet back over. That doesn't mean dreading meal prep because, ugh, I have to make another batch of chicken and rice. No, it means finding the foods that you enjoy, the things that you like, things that you can put on to repeat because they make you feel good. They fill you up, they satiate you, they satisfy you, and they shut down the cravings and they shut down the food noise. Not to say always, because again, none of this means that we're being perfect here. And we are women and our bodies go through cycles every single month. And so again, with this balance, I have to add in that you have to take into account your phases of your month because there will be weeks where you feel more bloated, and that's normal. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. There will be weeks where your cravings are a lot stronger than others, and you're doing exactly what you did last week. Those are things that are a little bit more out of your control, but there are also ways that you can fuel that support that as well. And I highly encourage you to go back and listen to the episode where we had Sam, the endometriosis coach, on here because she touches on this just a little bit, but she will go in her own personal programs. She will dive in even deeper into how you can eat and fuel your body to support those cravings, right? Because again, just to touch on it a little bit, like she says, during our follicular phase or the week before, the week of our period, a little bit different for everybody, but your cravings for sweets might be a little bit stronger. That's our bodies telling us that we need some more of that sugar, natural sugars though, right? So maybe you added a little bit more slow roasted squash, things like that. And then you'll start to see maybe this is also in my control. I can also start to shut down some of those cravings and food noise during these phases of my month when I support my body with specific foods and the way that they're cooked, right? So I don't even want to say that this is all out of your control because there are definitely things that are still within your control, okay? But again, I want to stress to you, take a week, get really brutally honest with yourself, take a picture, record every single bite in your mouth and don't change anything. Do everything as you normally would and genuinely just see what you're doing. And if your calories are still low, okay, take a look. How much of what you're eating is processed and how much of what you're eating are whole foods? And if your calories are still low, still in that maintenance level for at least what you calculated them to be, you're still eating a lot of whole foods, you still have a really high protein, and you're still struggling with cravings, food noise, you're still struggling with weight loss, you're still struggling with all those things, it is worth contacting a coach or a dietitian or your doctor to even have some labs run. So just keep all of those things in mind. And there is another episode too where I dive even deeper into, are you not eating enough? So if you feel like, again, your calories are really low, you can go back and refer to that episode as well. And the last piece that I want to talk about is going back to prioritizing yourself too. Okay. Kind of keeping this like concept of extremes and having an 80-20 balance. Let's say you think that having a balance of, taking time for yourself and prioritizing yourself, an extreme example would be, you know what, I'm just going to take a week off and I'm going to go by myself and shut myself in a hotel and take the entire week to reset, okay, out of the entire year. And then the entire rest of the year, you are just surviving. You are taking care of everyone else. You're pouring into everyone else. You feel guilty for that week that you took. And now you feel like you have to give even more and you are running yourself into the ground and you are exhausted the whole rest of the year. But hey, you had that 1 week to reset versus taking a week to reset. You're not even taking a single day, but building in intentional times that are taking care of you. And that doesn't just mean getting your nails done or getting the massage or going out for coffee. Okay. All of those things are great and awesome. Build those things in too. Okay. But again, let's say maybe once a month you get a girls' night with your girlfriends, and that's a great night to reset. Maybe once a month. That's awesome. But what are you doing the 29 rest of the days? Okay. If you're not taking little moments here and there to get a walk outside by yourself for 10 minutes, to wake up early and have your coffee in peace 2 or 3 days a week, to go move your body in a way that feels good, whether it's at the gym or in your basement, and saying to your partner, hey, you know what? I need 20 minutes to just go do this workout. Can you support me with that? And having that open and honest conversation so that you can fill your cup in small ways throughout your week, so that you can show up every day with more energy, with more patience, with more calm, with more joy. And all of that is exactly what we do in the membership through mindset training, through nutrition training, through workouts that you can do at home in 30 minutes or less, in a supportive group of women who are going through it too. And the habits that we talk about every single day, that is what we do in the membership, is we get you in the balance that feels good every day. Get you out of the extremes, get you out of the all or nothing thinking. So again, you can find the link to join in the show notes. And I again, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Realistically Consistent. If today's episode helped you, please hit subscribe and leave a quick rating, as it helps my moms find the show. You can visit AllisonHaleyFitness.com for more tools, tips, and ways to stay connected. And just as a quick reminder, I'm here to share general information and encouragement, but this podcast isn't meant to replace professional medical or health advice. Everyone's circumstances are different, so be sure to check in with your trusted healthcare provider before making any big changes. Thanks again for being here, and until next time, keep showing up for yourself one realistic step at a time.